Welcome back, everyone, for the episode of the Chamber Podcast. You might quickly recognize, if you're watching this on video, that I am not in the studio. We are actually on location at the Allhart Garage here in Brighton. And joining me is the owner, founder of the Allhart Garage, Dan Oginski. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Second time on the podcast. First time we talked about the Brighton Lighthouse and all the phenomenal work that you've done there. So we'll make sure we have a link to that episode if people want to hear that story. Today we're talking about the lighthouse. No, we're not. I just said see, Dan's throwing me off already. We're not talking about the lighthouse. We're talking about Allhart Garage.
Right.
This building is amazing. There's so much that's in it for so many different use cases. I want to let you share the vision of the garage and then also how it's evolved over the last year or so.
Yeah. No, great. Thank you. So here at Allhart Garage, a lot of people might know the building driving up and down Rickett Road. It looks kind of different. It was built to look like a vintage service station from the outside. But inside what it is, most of the building is a warehouse, and then we have some office space here. And what we've done is tried to expand, building on Brighton Lighthouse, we've tried to expand here our platform, being infrastructure that can help people grow their business, while also offering programs and content to help people grow personally. So the way we're doing that here at Allhart Garage is in the warehouse, we subdivided it into some storage units. And mixed with that office space, it's really built for small businesses, in part, small businesses that have a need for some amount of storage for inventory or equipment, and also can use office space to work in. And we have 7 storage units in the warehouse. We use one of them for ourselves. 4 of them, we now have residents occupying those storage units. So we have 2 more that are open for someone to use. And, we call these folks residents. At Brighton Lighthouse, if you're a resident, you have your own dedicated office. At Allhart Garage, if you're a resident, you have your own dedicated storage unit. But what comes with that is access to work in the office space we have here and at Brighton Lighthouse. It's a community membership where you can pick, depending on how you're feeling and what you got to do that particular day, you can find different spaces to work at. So we like to think of that, if I will say to people, if you just need a storage unit just to store some of your stuff like from your house or something, it's better to go, just rent a storage unit somewhere. But if you have kind of a mix of needs, like you want on-site, have your inventory, your equipment, maybe you're someone with, could be tools, could be, maybe you have a business that's do a lot of decorations, so you have your own decorations and your own equipment that way, or maybe it's an internet business and you're storing your inventory, but also need places to have meetings, meet with clients, work at a desk. It's a good mix of resources that we have here for people to use. And the interesting thing is the folks who are residents right now, they have a particular mix of needs, and when they put eyes on our facility, they immediately knew it was for them, and it's working out well for them, and we're hoping to find a couple of more. So
what was one of the things that kind of caught you by surprise after you opened this place and you're like, wow, people have a use case for this as well? Because there's a lot of, you can get super creative with how people use this space, right?
Yes, that's one of the things that Anna, my wife, who's my co-owner for Brighton Lighthouse and Allhart Garage, one of the things that we find really cool is the way people come into the space, observe it in their own way, and they have their own ideas about what they can do here and get out of it. One great example is one of our residents here at Allhart Garage is the Rustic Hut, and they make wood furniture. And they actually do a fair amount of business online, but they're looking to grow in Livingston County too. Well, they have their own workshop where they can build pieces, but they needed space to store it before they ship it out, and a place to kind of work at a desk or have meetings once in a while. But the other interesting thing is they were relying on their customers to take a photograph once they received their piece of furniture and to send it back to them for their marketing purposes. And what they really, part of how they use the space here is using the garage that we're sitting in right now to take photographs to post online and for their own marketing purposes. So that's a good example of we didn't really, the garage that we're sitting in, by the way, that's the third part of the building between the warehouse and the office space, is the garage space with the 4 glass garage doors. This kind of speaks to the different ways people are using the space too. My original intention for this space was to have a place to park 2 of my cars. I'm a car guy, and then a trailer and a tractor. But we put these glass garage doors in. As soon as those went in, we all recognized this is a pretty cool space, and it's become a bit more of a recreation space, a bit of a creator space. Like I said, Rustic Hut using it to take photographs of the really pieces of art that they make that are furniture. People have done some crafts workshops in here, and there's plenty of yoga classes that go on here too, interestingly enough. So it's really interesting. We have our own ideas about what the space is built for, and then people come in and add their own. They observe in the space like, oh, here's some things I could use it for, and it's things like that.
What's been one of the more rewarding things that you've seen businesses do in here? I'm sure it's interesting how you see businesses grow. What's one of the things that you might not have been expecting to see that was fairly rewarding?
I'll give you 2 things. One thing that is very rewarding, it's something I was hoping for, I couldn't have expected it, but I was hoping for it at least. And it's how, in this particular space, I had the advantage when we were building this space of having some experience watching people work at Brighton Lighthouse. And I almost really used some folks working at Brighton Lighthouse as a bit of a focus group. And so that kind of translated into, in addition to the warehouse, how we're thinking about how we can use the garage space. But the way we finished the office space with different workspaces and built some sound booths, we call them, or almost like phone booths, so people have some private space to go to for that. What has panned out is watching people use the space and really find it helpful to have these different spaces in the way we thought through them, and people finding that very useful. So that's been cool. Another thing is, which is really speaks to it goes to the heart of a lot of why Ann and I are doing this, and our whole team, why we are doing what we're doing and why we love it is we get to participate in people working on their business and working to grow it. So for example, ATA Residential Solutions, that's another resident here. They're a home builder, and they actually have 2 units in our warehouse right now because they're expanding. When they started, they had 1 unit, now they're growing enough that they needed to expand in there. Well, they use our conference room here to meet with clients, to make a pitch on their projects, and they're so enthusiastic and love what they're doing. But one of the things that has been so rewarding for me is when Alan and Aaron say things like, man, we love your conference room. I don't know what it is when we meet with clients there. We're closing deals like we never closed before, and I'm sure it's them, and maybe there's something to people taking the meeting a little more seriously because they're coming to a professional space. But I'd like to think, hopefully there's something about the way we designed it and finished it that adds something to the meeting. But they feel good about it, and that's very rewarding.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And it's something that I don't think businesses think enough about. And you're exactly right. Like, I know Alan and Aaron as well, so, excellent, phenomenal people. But when you have excellent people who are pitching in a space that matches what they can deliver on, there's just something cohesive about that. When we did the studio, it was the same thing. It was like, if I did this same pitch in my truck, I have to scoop fries over and all this, all this stuff that's like
my car too.
Yeah, you're like you have to move all this crap out so you can sit down and listen to this pitch. I'm saying the same things, but the environment is different, and that environment makes people feel differently about what it is you're doing. So as much as you can, ensure that the environment that you're selling in matches what you're selling.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to hear that people have found a use case for what you've built here, and I'm sure as the years go on, there's going to be a lot more different use cases than you never even thought of before.
Yeah. And I was also thinking maybe a third thing that's a bit rewarding. This also, I don't know that I could have expected. It was a little bit. Well, it's just very interesting. I'll say this, that we now have Brighton Lighthouse and All Heart Garage. They're both built with a particular theme. A lot of thought and feeling went into designing spaces that just felt really good to be in, but they're different. And what's been really cool is, because I would be this way, is watching people in the way that they're working, either going to Brighton Lighthouse or coming to All Heart Garage based on what do I got to get done today? What's the particular thing I'm going to do? And some of it is like, what mood am I in? Because Brighton Lighthouse is kind of relatively more of an art piece. There's the grounds, tends to be a bit more social. So people who are, wanting to talk more and engage with people a bit more, or just be in that feel of the way Brighton Lighthouse is, they'll spend a day over there. But other days where someone needs to, I gotta get in, I gotta crank some stuff out, I gotta be able to duck into a place and, have a bit more of a serious call, they may come here. I've seen people come here for the morning and then go over to Brighton Lighthouse for the afternoon. So watching people take advantage of the different spaces for different purposes that's been very rewarding, because it, tells me that we're providing value. People are finding uses in the different things that we built.
Love it. So Dan, anything else that you want people to know about the garage before we wrap?
Well, I will say All Heart Garage and Brighton Lighthouse are, part of a larger enterprise Ann and I call Hartmonic. And we're really excited about 2024. We in earnest are we're close to our third birthday, so to speak, kind of operating things the way that we are, and things are evolving. And we're really excited about 2024. We're getting old enough as a business. We've been exploring lots of things that we could do that, might generate revenue and that people might be interested in, but we're getting familiar enough with our business now. We know where we want to place our bets, and we're kind of excited to focus on our core, which we really see as being a platform and a community that helps people grow their business and grow personally. And we got lots more coming in 2024 with a focus on that.
I love that. The one thing that's been astonishing to me is seeing, we've been in Brighton for 3 years now, seeing what you've done with the lighthouse and seeing what you've done here in such a short period of time. Not only have these businesses grown, but how many businesses have you helped grow by having these establishments here? It's absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Great. So we'll make sure that through this interview we'll get some shots of the garage. People haven't been here before. We'll make sure those are all interlaced here, and then obviously all the information for them to come and check it out will be in the show notes as well. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate you listening. If you haven't yet, come check out either the Brighton Lighthouse or the All Heart Garage, or make a day and do both. It's going to be well worth your time to do so. We'll catch you next week. Take care.